Warning: the following video contains explicit language which may be offensive to some viewers or inappropriate for children. The content within this video is intended for mature audiences only.
Hey everybody, it's Jeff. Glad everybody's here today. This is Monday, February 2. Really sunny here today. Still not too cold. It was like in the, low 20s, I guess. But nice. I don't know how many of you, I don't watch the Grammys or anything like that. I don't know how many of you did, but if you did, you probably saw a train of people who couldn't wait to say something bad about Trump. Okay. And, well, I guess Trump was watching, and it wasn't long after, the event was concluding, he got on his Truth Social and started typing out a stupid fucking tirade here. Let me read what he wrote here. He put down, quote, "Noah, a total loser, better get his facts straight and get them straight fast. It looks like I'll be sending my lawyers to sue this poor, pathetic, talentless dope of an MC and suing him for plenty of money," unquote. Honestly, remember how he was with Taylor Swift? Okay, and how, she was against him and he trashed her too. This is a guy, who really has no fucking self-control at all. Okay, he's easily provoked. He acts like a child when he is provoked. Is that a sign of a mental problem? You bet it is. Okay, he's what? He's almost 80 years fucking old and he's acting like that at 80? If Joe Biden was easily provoked like that, goddamn well the Republicans would be screaming, "Oh, he's unfit, he's got dementia, he's got this, he's got that." That's what they would have done. Okay, but in this situation, MAGA stays quiet. Okay, in fact, they're clapping and applauding his stupid little post that he put on his website there. Okay. And it just re-emphasizes the fact that these people are just a cult, okay? They agree with everything he says and he does, and they don't care, they're sycophants. And then this other issue here that he's done, he shut down the Kennedy Center for what he says 2 years for renovations. Really? He's mad because everybody's canceling out on doing things there. They're not going to perform there or do anything there as long as his fucking name is on that building. Okay? So I guess he figures that he'll just destroy the building. Okay? And then rebuild a new one there, and his name alone will go on it. Now, let me see. I was saying he's childish. This is another childish thing, okay? And it also is another example of a guy whose mind is just slowly turning to mush. Okay? It really is. And the fact that he's still sitting in the White House shows just how desperate the Republicans are to keep their foot in the door, all right? They don't want to lose the White House. Even if it's the nut that's in there right now, they still want access to that fucking office. Okay, so they're going to keep him in there They're going to keep him in there even if he's dead. They're going to have strings attached to him so they can marionette him, you know. Okay? But they're not going to let go of that fucking house. They're going to keep him there. They're going to do what they got to do. I wouldn't put it past them to find some kind of AI or some kind of a guy who looks like Trump to go around imitating him after Trump's dead, so that way people will think he's still alive. I mean, this is the kind of shit that you would expect from a guy this corrupt. Okay? And he is corrupt, people. Make no mistake about that. He is corrupt to the point of being very criminal in things that he's done. So yeah, he wants to shut down this thing for 2 years. Okay, fine. So he shuts it down. It's funny he picked 2 years, because in 2 years, you know, his time in the White House would be, you know, essentially over, considering, you know, that unless he does something to prevent it. But after that time, you know, if we have a different president afterwards, they can undo that fucking name change on the building and put it back the way it was. And I feel like, you know, it's one of those things that, you know, really, you know, it's going to hang over the heads of MAGA and Trump as, you know, another fucking reason why this guy doesn't belong doing what he's doing. He just doesn't, okay? He has not earned the right to be in that fucking chair. He doesn't. I mean, he cheated his way into it, okay? He's done everything illegal while he's been in there. Okay, these are all things that we were supposed to learn about this man before he ran for a second time. We should have learned our lesson the first time around, that this guy is dangerous, more dangerous to the company, to the American country than anybody else. You know, he's turning our fucking country into a police state here, with ICE as his avenging angels, if you will. All right. So, you know, we really need to snap out of this fucking idea that, oh, well, we can wait this out. I don't think we can. I really don't think we can. And I don't think we can afford to, honestly. Look how much damage he did in 1 year since he got back in there. You want to really wait this year out? Okay, so I have a video from iHip News. Apparently, you know, some new files had come out, Jeffrey Epstein files, and it reveals a lot more damning info that I think that really paints a picture here of not just corruption here in the United States, but corruption in connection with Russia and the United States together. Okay, so let's go to that, and then we'll discuss it on the other side.
The last drops of the Epstein files have not only revealed some horrific sex crimes that we all knew, but as the camera comes into focus, it becomes more and more depraved. And also, it's revealing that Epstein and American oligarchs are involved in a network of espionage with Vladimir Putin in Israel to sabotage United States democracy and even the European Union's democracies. The Daily Mail, a conservative British paper, summarizes it like this. Pop this up, Kylie. Epstein's sex empire was KGB honey trap. Pedophile financier had multiple talks with Putin after conviction, with Russian girls flown in to harvest compromat on world famous figures. And this last dump, I think, not only is Trump's name in it thousands of times, but also Vladimir Putin's name is in it thousands of times. And this is just really, really goes back to 2016 when Hillary Clinton was talking about Donald Trump being Putin's puppet. And then it just makes me, and I'm sure it does you guys too, why has all of this been sitting at DOJ for all of this time? And they just stopped it with Jeffrey Epstein and his quote unquote suicide and jailed Ghislaine Maxwell. Why on earth have these people not been called in front of Congress? Why on earth are there not robust espionage, treason style conversations being had at the highest levels of government. It is such a disappointment that both political parties, both Republicans and Democrats, were fine just leaving it the way it was. Put up this next slide, Kylie. So Jurgen Nadit tweets, Putin's name appears more than 1,000 times in Jeffrey Epstein's files. This is according to the Daily Mail. The paper reports that the financier may have been working in Moscow's interest and amassing compromising information about the global elite. He allegedly used Russian women for this purpose. According to the journalist, Epstein boasted about his access to the Kremlin and mentioned a, quote, friend of Putin who was able to arrange visas. There has long been speculation on social media that Putin's involvement in the Epstein affair was only a matter of time and thorough investigation. Now it seems that time has come. And I just want to remind you, this time has come because Massey and Khanna forced these files to come out. Otherwise, they were just going to sit there. We know Merrick Garland and Joe Biden didn't do anything with it. And think about that. We had democracy on the line. We had a man, Donald Trump, who instructed and coordinated and financed a violent insurrection wherein his supporters wanted to kill the vice president of the United States, Mike Pence. And think about that. Mike Pence, a white evangelical Republican Christian. Not even he is safe in the MAGA movement. And the DOJ and the Biden administration knew all of this. They knew all of this Epstein stuff was there. All of these ties to Russia. And they didn't do it, what? Because you wanted to be independent? You wanted to not appear partisan? Meanwhile, you charge Hunter Biden with chicken shit stuff just to satisfy the rabid right. And my question is, why do Democratic administrations always placate and show deferential treatment to the potential narrative that these insane MAGA right-wingers that are in the epicenter of the Epstein files with Vladimir Putin and the former prime minister of Israel, everybody's getting honeypotted. Everybody in Donald Trump's cabinet, from Howard Lutnick to Elon Musk, are over on Pedo Island. It's just unbelievable, the absolute failures. And is it willful? You know, there are some Democrats in these files too, not that I've seen besides Bill Clinton, that were elected officials. But the public position has always been, release them all. Let the chips fall where they may. Number one, because these victims, these poor girls, were trafficked because of their socioeconomic positioning and their broken homes. They were trafficked because they were the easiest prey. And then they were trafficked to all of these disgusting, depraved men. And it's so interesting that after Jeffrey Epstein did his sweetheart deal with Alex Acosta, who later served in Trump's 1.0, and everybody knew that he was a pedophile, he continues to operate with complete impunity. And that to me is really interesting. It tells me that Epstein thought, I have so much compromising information on all of these people. I can still do whatever I want, when I want, how I want. And then it escalates so much that he ends up in Trump 1.0's DOJ prison. And I don't think there's any question at this point that that wasn't a suicide. And the only person serving any sentence on this is Ghislaine Maxwell, the woman, and she deserves to be in prison. And then she's able to meet with Todd Blanche, the president's failed attorney, the one that oversaw his felony convictions. She's able to meet with him, and make no mistake about it. She's like, listen up, MFer. I know this, I know this, I know this. You better move me to another prison and work on getting me a pardon. And that's where this is all heading. All right. So this gets juicier and juicier. And the compromise that Vladimir Putin has on Trump was assisted by the world's most famous, prolific pedophile child sex trafficker. Pop this up. Joni Escola posts, the media is still missing the biggest story in the Epstein emails. The emails show Epstein helped Russia blackmail Donald Trump. He was advising Putin's circle on how to control the U.S. president. Trump is compromised, and we need to make sure everyone sees this. In the email, it says, from Jeffrey Epstein, Churkin was great. He understood Trump after our conversations. It is not complex. He must be seen to get something. It's that simple. And then the person that he was emailing, Thorbjørn Jagland, says, I'll meet Lavros's assistant on Monday. These are people right in Putin's inner circle. And will suggest, thank you for a lovely evening. I'll come to a high level next week. It's amazing that these people, they're typos, but that's neither here nor there. And then Jeffrey responds to that and says, I think you might suggest to Putin that Lavrov can get insight on talking to me. So he's helping Vladimir Putin with the compromise on Donald Trump. Why is he doing this? And who else is he talking to? Well, he's talking to Steve Bannon nonstop. And he's talking to Peter Thiel. Peter Thiel, you might remember, is the immigrant that owns Palantir, that has decided that modern society is no longer compatible with democracy. And he wants a top-down rule, and he wants a CEO installed to rule America. Okay, he can't run for political office. So what did he do? He had to buy J.D. Vance. He had to purchase J.D. Vance because J.D. Vance is for sale, and he is a political prostitute that's changed his name 3 times, his religion 3 times, and will not defend his wife, who is a first-generation American, and his mixed-race kids. So J.D. Vance is a soulless coward. So Peter Thiel buys J.D. Vance so he can get to the levers of American power, knowing that Russia, via the help of Jeffrey Epstein, has Donald Trump completely compromised. They have him by the balls. This is why Trump bashed and bullied the Zelensky in the Oval Office. This is why Trump rolled down the red carpet in Alaska and clapped like a seal when Vladimir Putin walked out. And Peter Thiel is right in the middle of this. Pop this up. Greg Oliar posts, if Peter Thiel is a Russian asset, then by the transitive property, so is J.D. Vance. And this is regarding more on the Epstein-Thiel connection. We already know Epstein was looping him into discussions with Russian Ambassador Churkin in 2016. But here, back in 2015, he's introducing Thiel to his Kremlin handler, Sergei Belyakov, who organizes a meeting. So you have to ask yourself, why is Peter Thiel, Steve Bannon, Jeffrey Epstein, why are they constantly talking to Russia? Russia's supposed to be our adversary. What do they have in common? Oh, yeah. Putin doesn't want Western democracies to survive. He wants to annihilate them. He wants the United States to be in a civil war. This is widely accepted fact. Peter Thiel, as we know, doesn't think that the United States should be a democracy anymore. He doesn't have the balls to put his name on a ballot and go run like a big boy. So he uses his money to cheat the system. And Thiel and Epstein actually collaborated on Brexit. So the United States, all of this, the bots and all of us fighting with each other, is the Russian psychological warfare game in full play. But they've also done the same thing with the UK and trying to get the UK out of the EU in Brexit. Pop this up. Thiel was celebrating with Epstein the success of the first major success with Russia, dismantling the EU. Jeffrey Epstein emails Peter Thiel, Brexit. Just the beginning. So I want you to think about this. Jeffrey Epstein, the guy who is a pedophile, collaborating with Peter Thiel, who does, as a side hustle, conferences and speeches on the Antichrist. These people cannot put their names on the ballot and run for office and get a movement behind them. So they're cheaters. They honeypot people, get compromising information on them. They get Elon Musk to buy X. Vladimir Putin has thousands and millions of bot farms to do psychological warfare. And they want to scapegoat immigrants. It's an old playbook where they scapegoat immigrants. They did this in the UK with Brexit. By the way, all of the data is in with Brexit. It did not benefit the UK. It did not benefit their economy in the least. But they're celebrating this. Jeffrey Epstein and Peter Thiel are celebrating it and saying just the beginning, which brings me back to the fundamental question. Merrick Garland had this information in his FBI, in his DOJ, and did nothing about it. Think about that. Think about just knowing that this billionaire immigrant in the United States, Peter Thiel, purchased J.D. Vance, ships him off to Silicon Valley, Queer Eyes him, rolls out a Senate seat for him, and then tells Trump, I'll give you a lot of money for your campaign if you pick J.D. Vance to be your vice president. And just the collaboration and the collusion about Brexit and all of these other overarching compromising conflicts of interest, not to mention the child pedophilia, and the Democrats set on this, we're never, ever going to beat fascism if we're more worried about the independence of the Justice Department and not appearing partisan. We'll never, ever defeat these people unless we're willing to get in there and fight and grow some fangs. And then here, it just gets worse. And I could go on and on all day, but Marine Le Pen is the far right France Trump, if you will. Guess who funds her? Pop this up. This was in the Epstein files. Epstein files suggest that Le Pen and France's National Front are largely propped up by Russian money. And in this email, basically Jeffrey Epstein emails Michael Wolff and is talking about being at a lunch where Putin and Russia and all of these former KGB people have all of these little plants, all of these little J.D. Vances in all of these European countries, even in the far right, crazy German far right party, all thumbprints to Kremlin. And Jeffrey Epstein, who the federal government had by the balls for sex trafficking, as they dig into it, they find out all of this, and then he commits suicide. And then all of this is passed over to Merrick Garland. And not only did he drop the bag on prosecuting Trump, he dropped the bag on this as well. And think about this. I want you to think about January 6th. The people that were tried for January 6th and were convicted, and then who Trump later pardoned, these were the poor people that spend a lot of their time chronically online, freebasing Fox News, Alex Jones, QAnon chat rooms. These are not wealthy people. These are the core cult members who are somehow broken and they thought that Donald Trump was their savior. They were funded. There was financing that set up the Stop the Steal rally. We now know that Donald Trump spent $3 million of his own money. We know that Jenny Thomas, the wife of Clarence Thomas, was in the epicenter of planning this. So what does Merrick Garland's DOJ do? They charge all of the poor cultists, which they deserve to be charged. They beat up cops and did all of this shit. But did they go after the big money? And that's the link between January 6th and the Jeffrey Epstein thing. If you're rich, DOJ, whether it's Democrat or Republican, doesn't do shit with you. And that's not what this is about. And the Supreme Court tells Donald Trump, you're rich, so you have immunity. So that's why we have a president that is lawless, breaking laws, has enriched his family to the tune of $4 billion. You know why? Because Clarence Thomas and John Roberts and his friends at the Supreme Court told him, you can do whatever you want to do. The fix is in, the rig is in, and all of these things are interconnected. And these people have been machinating to plot the overthrow of democracy, not just in the United States of America, but also the European Union, all the way back to after Jeffrey Epstein did a plea deal and pled guilty to being a pedophile. And then they all still continue to communicate with him. Why? Because he has everybody by the balls honeypotted. This is wild stuff. All right, like, subscribe, comment, and I'll be back later with more news.
All right, it's pretty epic in its scale. It's as epic as the conspiracy that to kill President Kennedy in Dallas. Okay, but this here is worse, I think, in a way, because this conspiracy or whatever, involves Putin. And I mean, it goes back to what I was saying about how Russia and the United States, I mean, they don't really want to have a nuclear war because nobody wins in that. They know this, okay? They can threaten nukes all they want, but no one's got the balls to use them. So how else are you going to defeat your enemy? You do it from inside. You do it covertly. And it seems to me like plans were in the works for a long time in this country to weaken our nation from within, seat certain people in key positions, and get someone who is easily controllable in the White House. And who else other than Trump? I mean, he's had a relationship there with Putin, okay? And Trump's got people who's dealt with Putin. So Putin knows this guy pretty well. So he gives him what he wants, a presidency, okay? Now, him losing that second term the first time around, okay, wasn't part of the plan, but he got back in there. And Putin is not going to take the chance of, wasting time here. So, he gets Trump to do all this shit now to weaken the country further, okay? Attacking our nation's democracy from the inside. Okay, so you follow what I'm saying? A plan like that, it takes time to make that come into fruition, because you got to find the right people who will unquestionably follow whatever orders are given, okay, or whatever. And it may not even be that obvious. It may be just the fact that Trump is so stupid, he doesn't realize he's being played, okay? It may just be like that. And that would certainly back up, Kamala Harris's assertion of Trump as being, weak and easily provoked and easily manipulated, okay? That's the kind of person Putin was looking for. And so he gets him in there. And you look at the things that's been going on in the last year and up to now. And there is a pattern here. You see that the steps that Trump is taking doesn't benefit America in any fucking way, okay? It doesn't. Nothing he's done up to now has made things or made life easier here in this country. However, all these things that he's done has been to chip away at people's livelihoods, at freedoms, economic, desperation rising in this country. All of that designed to cripple America. All of that plays into Putin's idea of how he's going to conquer this country. Okay? Because that essentially is the way it was over there. And that's kind of what they're going through right now, fighting Ukraine. Their country's weakened too. You may not hear much about that, but I read a lot of things. And economically, they're fucking, they're no better off than the United States, okay? They're losing all kinds of business over there from the sanctions, but Putin has had time enough to work around it to a degree, okay? But he's trying to get the United States to take the hit, a big hit, okay? He's trying to separate us from our allies, which is a good thing for Russia. For Russia. It's a good thing for Putin. If he can isolate the United States from the rest of the world doesn't have enough might to be able to oppose him if he chose to go into another country here, okay? And I know people are going to say, well, he's got all he can do right now to fight Ukraine. That's true enough, but I don't think that really matters to Putin. I really don't think it matters, okay? I think he feels that he's got a military already that he's using drones or using different things now to fight his war, okay? and it's been sort of at a standstill for the most part against Ukraine. But if he can isolate the United States and get Donald Trump on his side, I think he's expecting that he could coerce Trump in some way to give him weapons, to give him tanks, bombs, planes, whatever the fuck else. I mean, look, we got a Navy already parked outside of Iran right now. Okay, Iran is having economic troubles, just like Russia. People are screaming over there for answers. Do you think that that Navy is only there for that? I don't. I think that, you know, Iran's always been a thorn in our side, but we never, you know, wanted to send a military over there to do anything with that country because they were allied with Russia. Okay? So what do you think they're really there for? I don't think that has a damn thing to do for, you know, trying to topple a regime. I think it has everything to do with supporting it. Okay? I think they're there to eliminate any opposition, so that way Putin can place one of his cronies there to run that country, and the United States is there to help him do it because his military's tied up in Ukraine. So he needs another military to go in there and do it. All right? So again, it's our country taking orders from another country to do this, do that. This thing with Venezuela. Okay? Again, Russia could, you know, if we control Venezuela, we control the oil there. You know? Who do you think will benefit from that? Well, if he's got Trump in the White House, he can certainly make deals to get that oil. And only he would get it. Okay? So, I mean, I feel like there's a lot here that we don't see here because we're just buying what we're seeing on the surface. But, you know, if you talk to anybody out there today, any person, you talk to them and you ask them specific questions, like, why do you think we're over there in Iraq? They can't really answer. They don't really know because they won't tell you that. They're trying to make it sound like it's something we need to do, like trying to cure hunger, okay? But there's, you know, then you have to say, well, why are we using the military? You know, why are they there? Okay? And I just feel like there's a lot that we don't see that Trump doesn't want us to see. And, you know, it's like everything else about this guy. Transparency, forget it. You're not going to get transparency with this fucking guy. I don't care what he told you in 2024 when he was running for the president. Transparency is not going to happen. Okay? This guy is as part of, he is the swamp. Remember he was saying we're going to drain the swamp? No. He actually filled it up even more than it was. He is the swamp. He's the swamp that we were all trying to get rid of in this country. Now it's back in there full force. Okay? As corrupt as you thought our past presidents were, people, they've got nothing. They can't hold a candle to this guy. Okay? They can't hold a candle to this guy. And the shit that's coming out here with these files, even though they're redacted, some of them, a lot of them, okay, it's giving us more insight into this relationship between Trump and Putin and Epstein being sort of an intermediary here with this shit, okay, and other people. Okay, we're seeing that there was a bigger scope here. It involved more than just, you know, one or two people. It involved other countries, okay, other leaders. All right, these people, you know, like I said, have been working to create this fucking problem. Putin, and under mostly Putin's plans. Now remember, this guy was in the KGB for a long time, so he knows everything there is to know about espionage. All right, so this guy's got some crafty plans, and up to now we've been pretty uninvested in protecting ourselves from that country, because for a long time we thought, oh, we could be their allies for how many, what was it, 15, 20 years? Okay, things were going good over there, we thought. We thought that, we could send McDonald's over there, we can do this, we can do that. It turns out that was all a ruse. Okay, he had no intention of keeping any of that shit there. And hence the fucking war begins with Ukraine, all of a sudden all American anything over there is gone. Okay? All that stuff is gone. And it looks just like the way it did at the darkest years of the Soviet Union. That's the way it looks over there now. It's practically overnight that happened. Okay? And so now we're dealing with the same old, okay? It's just a different version of a Cold War that's being fought in our inside our government from another government. Governments fighting governments here, okay? And they're buying people off in this country through Trump, through Epstein when he was around, okay? They were getting allies over here for Putin. Now, I know that sounds, what do you call it? Like something like, what's his fucking name there? Jones, I guess. It sounds like an Alex Jones kind of conspiracy. But you see, we don't talk things like that unless we have some evidence, some proof to where we can connect dots. We don't just throw things out there like Jewish space lasers, okay? Nothing to connect a dot to that. But we do have dots connected to this, and the more shit that comes out, the more dots we have to connect. All right? So what I'm telling you now is not just bullshit. Okay? Sure, some of it, might be a little bit of guesswork there, but it's like, obvious guesses. Okay, where there's a good chance I'm right, or a good chance someone else is right to figure out what was going on here that we didn't see for all these years. Happening even under the Biden administration, under the Obama administration. This goes way back. Okay, this plan was a long time in creation here, and now everything's coming to a head here. All right, and the only thing in the world that's going to stop this, okay, is if we got people, the opposition party, getting on the fucking ball here and doing stuff here. I mean, and the people protesting, screaming. Because I'll tell you, there's a lot of, desperation. People think it's going to come to blows. It's going to end up being, whatever you want to call it, and a revolution or a civil war, whatever. Okay, people think that's what's going to happen. All right, and then now they try to say, well, if it comes to that, we've lost. Okay, because that's exactly what Trump wants. That'll give him the last piece to the puzzle to turn the nation into a police state. Okay, and I would say to that, well, we went 1 year already with this president, and look where we are. We didn't start a war last year. We didn't start a civil war last year, and we didn't get any better either. We're not going to start a war this year and see what happens at the end of this year. Because if you're not going to do anything, Democrats, then you're leaving us no choice but to take the other option. If you don't do something, and it's really your fucking responsibility to prevent, an uprising in this country, not us. Okay, we're caught in the middle between your two parties trying to control or destroy whatever we have for a government here. It's up to you to stand your fucking ground and push back. And if you don't do it, the pushback is going to be more violent than you would care to want, okay? In fact, I would say that if it ever came down to the civilians having to push back, many Democrats would side with the Republicans in order to stop it. Think about that. And one of those fucking Democrats, Chuck Schumer. I really believe that. I think Chuck Schumer would be the one who would say, we can't allow this to go on. We didn't want this to happen. So I'm siding with Donald Trump, and we're going to send the military out. We're going to support sending the military out to stop it. That right there would be the thing to know about where the Democrats are. Okay? They are not all behind this thing. They are not. Okay? So if it ever come to that, people, the Democrats will not stand up. At least not all of them. Okay, but enough of them would make it, very difficult for an opposition party to be able to stop that. Okay, so that's my fear. That's my theory about how this is going to play out. All right? I mean, as much bad-mouthing as Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries says about Trump, at the end of the day, if everything goes, south, and they decide that, or by saying, oh, we don't want this a violent uprising, we don't want this to happen. If it actually does happen, their first reaction is going to be to side with Trump, to stop it, to put it down. Okay, that's what they're going to do. And that right there, my friends, tells you exactly where they stand with Trump. Because if they're not going to stop him now, why would they stop him after? It's going to be every man and woman for themselves, basically, at that point. None of these people are going to want to be on the chopping block. Okay? So they're all going to run right to Trump's coattail. That's the way I see it. It's, I mean, read your history. Read your fucking history. People will choose a side. And whoever's got the upper hand is going to be the side most of them are going to choose. Let's go to a commercial break. I'll be right back.
I'm Alex Curtis. I'm a lobsterman in Maine, and this is me.
I'm Roxy Sugar, and this is me.
I'm Eric Hopkins. I'm an artist, and this is me.
This is me.
Me.
This is me.
This is me.
At the end of the journey, the main thing is you. Original.
Hey, America, it's me, Christine Ohm. We did it. This administration has successfully arrested 10,000 illegal corrupt aliens in Minnesota. And now, it's time to party. I know you can't tell because of what I've done to my face, but I'm ecstatic. We got some of the worst. Thieves, killers, mothers, sick children, and full legal American citizens. But there are some party poopers in our midst who think we don't know how to keep Americans safe. And to those belligerent psychopaths, I say, look at Minnesota right now. Gorgeous, stunning, nothing to see here. And if that's not the kind of America you want to live in, well, I'll help you leave. The deranged left think we're being a bit rough. But have you seen what we're up against? A ton of protesters calling us names. Can you imagine? It's really rude. So excuse us if we smash your car, drag you out the window, pull you out the car, kick you, choke you, punch you, shoot you. Where I come from, we call that tit for tat. So the next time you got a big old fat ICE agent's knee on your neck, remember, they have feelings too. Don't trust the lamestream media. They're making things look way worse than they are. Like ICE agents eating at a Mexican restaurant and then arresting the staff after. It's like they've never heard of dinner and dessert. What we're doing is right. You know how I know? No one can stop us. Plus, would a woman whose face looked like this 5 years ago lie to you? No way. I can't even express anything. Don't believe me? Watch me take this lie detector test.
Do you believe anything you say?
Yes. So America, trust us. We're keeping you safe. Hey you, where are you from? You legal?
Because I will tell you this, brother.
What?
I will tell you this. You raise your boys, I raise your boys.
You what? You erase my voice?
Whatever it is.
You erase my voice? Is that what you said? If I raise my voice, you'll erase my...
Exactly, yeah. Yeah.
Are you serious? You said if I raise my voice, you'll erase my voice?
Yes.
Wow. Unbelievable.
Is everyone press?
We're yes. Overnight. We're all members of the press. We're all press here. Okay. This officer appears to be bleeding from the mouth. Oh my God.
Are you okay? I'm fine.
Are you okay?
I'm fine.
Says he's all right. He's all right.
Where's the local PD? That's my question for the press.
Okay. This officer.
Where is the local PD?
What's your message to the local PD, sir?
No.
Okay.
Well, the mayor.
very chaotic.
Sir, while you're getting messages, what would your message to the protesters that want you out be?
An impromptu press conference with the
As long as you're getting comments, do you have any comments
Please
to the people that want you out?
Back up! Please, give me some room!
We're about to go to cowboy justice. Please don't let that happen. Please, Republicans, don't let that happen. This is Old Texas Paul. Hope your coffee's as good as mine. Hell, I hope it's better. I'm the guy that preaches peace. I am. But this is out of my hands. The United States government just murdered 2 citizens in broad daylight on video. They lied about it. We saw them lie about it. We called them out on their lies. Then they slandered the victims. Then they had their political social media operatives go to work making up AI videos and disinformation to, again, continue to slander the victims. They tried to swap, use that old abuser technique of swapping the victim and the predator. They've done it all, they've been caught in all of it. There's no debating this. The U.S. government just murdered 2 citizens in broad daylight on video, and they're saying, fuck you, we're not going to have a legitimate investigation into this. No one will be held accountable for this. Folks, what comes next is cowboy justice. That's it. Read a history book. When there is no legitimate government, what the people do is they form up their own. And a criminal comes into their neighborhood, breaks into a home, and murders the occupants. The neighborhood makes sure nobody leaves. And if somebody does escape, they form up a posse and they go find them. And they deal with them themselves. We do not want that. We do not want to go back to that. I'm begging you, Republicans, read a history book. This doesn't go where the people fall to their knees and comply. This goes the opposite direction. It goes to where a lot of people die. Hold these people accountable. Rein in this ridiculous Gestapo organization. Get rid of the damn model Barbie that is running DHS. Put serious people in charge of these organizations at minimum. Please don't do this.
part of the entertainment value of a lifetime.
I loved it.
It was the best performance I've seen in a lifetime.
I loved the show. I liked it very much. He's a very entertaining man. It's well worth the money.
Now appearing in Charlottetown, coming to Halifax November 6th to the 18th, and St. John November 20th through the 26th.
Okay, welcome back, everybody. All right, I got, excuse me here, get my glasses here. I got a comment from a viewer here who goes by the name Sci-Fi Grinch. Okay, from the last video that I did, and you know, he had to, or he or she, I don't know who, if it's a man or a woman, wrote a pretty, you know, thoughtful comment here. So let me read this to you here, and I'm going to reply on this video here to this person. Here it says, for 4 years of Trump's first term, Democrats resisted. For the first year of his second term, Democrats resist again. Have any problems in this country been addressed, seriously addressed, with the goal of actually fixing an issue? Democrats have done very little, if anything, there. I get it. They aren't the party in power right now, but they were 4 years ago and did almost nothing. In fact, they tried to convince us that there were no problems. I have a suggestion, the same suggestion I had for Republicans when Joe Biden was elected, by the way. Instead of resisting the party in power, how about working with them to try come up with actual solutions that really work to some of the problems we have in this country, and not the usual politician's answer of throw more money at it, as doing that almost always fails. I would feel much better about legislation drafted in a bipartisan manner that just written by one party and forced through. Would be nice to see a party with goals of actually helping all people. I agree. It would be nice. Okay, I agree about that. I mean, I think everybody at the end of the day wishes we could go back a little bit to the time when deals between the two parties could be reached. Because when you think about it, a lot of the things that we created in this country today that we still cherish was created with both sides actually making some kind of agreement. It wasn't a one side says yes and the other side says no. There was always some yes and no, but we worked together to build a consensus. Okay, and that's the way a democracy is supposed to work. You don't get everything you want, but you get some. You get some. And I guess for a lot of people, some ain't enough. They want it all. They want the whole fucking cake and eat it too, okay? But that isn't the way a democracy works. Only under a dictatorship does something like that work. Okay? Now, I can sense that the person here that wrote that is feeling like, well, we've seen the people resist and it's not really amounting to anything. Okay, not me the people, but the politicians. Okay, excuse me. We're seeing the politicians basically resisting, but they don't seem to really have much muscle behind the resisting, especially now. So they tell everybody to protest, write your congressman, call your senators, and all the usual stuff, okay? That's fine in an ordinary time where we're trying to debate, like, should we have universal health care or not? Okay, those are good things to do, okay? They're not violent, and it gets out the message. But people, this is not ordinary times here. We're not talking about some, bill that really, can benefit all of us depending on how we want to approach it. Okay, what's going on now is a fundamental disagreement on how this country's supposed to work, and that goes beyond fucking making bills, okay? All right? It goes beyond that, because it's like we're wrestling for this country's soul, for God's sake, and that being a democracy. We got one side that doesn't want it, and we got the other side trying to cling to it, okay? Now, to me, that's not a thing you can come bipartisan with. There really isn't. Because the issues that Americans are dealing with right now, okay, are not based on whether we have this kind of government or that. They're looking for health care. They're looking for, better safety net programs, higher wages, fixing the unemployment. Those are the things we care about. That's what usually Americans were always concerned about in the past. But now we've had to put all of that aside in order to defend our right to be able to disagree, to vote, okay? So we're not getting what we want again. because of this other bullshit that Trump created. So how do you come to a bipartisan agreement with a party like that? Okay, and I wouldn't even call the other side Republicans, okay, because they're really not Republicans anymore. Republicans had a certain ethical layer to them at one point, but they lost that when they turned into MAGA. So MAGA is like the Nazi party sitting in our government. Do you want to make deals with the Nazi party? Okay, I don't, because you know whatever they want, if they don't get it, they're just going to get up and walk away from the table. And that's where we're at right now. Now, sure, there are some Republicans, okay, I will give you that they are pissed off, okay, about certain things. A line has been crossed with them and they don't like it, okay, sure. Those are people we could probably work with, but it's not enough. Remember, there's still the majority in the houses and stuff, okay? They're still in power, all right? So in order for the Democrats to get things their way, all the Democrats have to be on the same boat, and they have to get as many Republicans as they can to join them. But we can't even get all the Democrats on the same boat. What was it, just a couple weeks ago, we had 7 Democrats vote with the Republicans, okay? And I think I did a video about that and showed you the names here. Was it Jared Golden from Maine was one of the fucks there that in the Congress, okay? So when we can't even get the Democrats on the same fucking boat to stand up for our country, what is bipartisanship going to look like? Okay, what did they think? There was going to be more people from the Republicans that would make up for the 7 who voted with them? I mean, come on. I mean, what are you going to do? The atmosphere in our government in Washington, D.C. is toxic as all merry hell, okay? It really is. And who made it that way? Trump. He wanted it that way. And it took a long time, I think, to work that, to make it come to where it is now, all right? But that's really the root of a lot of this shit. It's coming from him. The stink is coming from the White House. He's telling people what to do, and the dingbats are out there doing exactly what he tells them. Okay, so none of those people have a set of balls on them to do the right thing, or to even know or care that they're doing the wrong thing. All right? I mean, we sit here and we talk about, oh, we're going to have a Nuremberg in this country. Well, we got to get there first. Okay, what's the plan to get there? You can't get there by going to bed and waking up and, okay, it's all over. No. You have to put the fucking work in to get there. And right now, we can all, second guess ourselves, or, Monday morning quarterback, or whatever you want to call it. But we don't have time really for that. We have to deal with this problem as it comes up. And right now the problem is we have to get rid of the party, the toxic party that's in control here. Because as long as they're in control, bipartisanship be damned, it's going to always go their way. So, I mean, I'm not trying to be angry with you for writing what you wrote. You wrote a good comment here, and I want to point that out. These are the kind of comments I like to get. Some, thought-provoking things. So, yeah, I understand where you're coming from, Sci-Fi Grinch, okay? I understand where you're coming from. But right now, it's kind of late in the game to wish for bipartisanship, because right now, that's very close to being impossible. It's going to take a lot of people from the right in Congress, in the Senate, to say, fuck it. I'm turning against Trump, okay? You're going to need that before you can have bipartisanship. And right now, we're not getting a lot of that right now. We're getting it in the smaller governments, the state governments. We're seeing a lot of pivot going on, okay? We see a lot of that happening. But right now, D.C. is the problem. Washington, D.C. is the problem, and that's where we got to get the momentum going first. Once they see that, the rest of the states will follow. You're going to start to see backlash against Republicans in all these other states. But they have to get to the D.C., the federal government first, in order to make this happen. Now, I know some people have said you got to do this from the bottom up. That's true. I mean, there is some, thought there about that. But as long as Trump is still acting like a dictator, it's going to be a fight all the way to the top, and it's not going to be pretty. So if we want to try to do this in a way that's less violent. We have to convince our politicians to grow a spine and get into the fight. Start doing things. Start getting the Republicans on your side, so that way there's no chance that Trump can stop it. You know, that's the best answer I can give you for that. But thanks for the comment. All right, let me run this other short video here from Secular Talk, Kyle Kulinski. Yeah, he's sitting here doing this while he's driving. I would not suggest you do that, Kyle, because you're on where you're driving. It's icy roads. You guys will see what I'm saying. Yeah, let's go to that video here, and we'll be back here.
All right, y'all, we got some huge news that just came out today. We have new Epstein files. So as of right now, we know that there were heavy redactions that were protecting perpetrators in complete contravention of the law. These are illegal redactions under the law. So, you know, when I first started looking at them, I immediately was hit with like 4 pages of nothing but pure redactions. So even though they're trying to make it look like they're complying, they're already months too late, and they're redacting stuff they're not legally allowed to redact. So that's point number 1. Point number 2 is they did it again. They doxed Epstein victims again. So let me get this straight. A lot of the perpetrators are incorrectly having their identities protected, but the victims are wrongly having their information leak. So yet again, you could say it's amateur hour, or you can say that stuff like this is completely on purpose. But there was also yet again another instance of they posted some stuff, they realized it incriminated Trump, then they pulled it down, and then seemingly put it back up after they realized the cat was already out of the bag. So this is now the second or third time that this has happened exactly this way, where they post some stuff and they're like, oh shit, this makes Trump look really bad, and then they pull it down. So absolutely incredible stuff. And then you also have, to get to some of the specifics here, Epstein discussed Trump raping an underage girl at his house in an email, and they were like strategizing around how to prepare for that, assuming Trump is going to get questioned about it on the campaign trail in 2016. So that was incredibly disturbing. You have a number of examples of Elon basically emailing back and forth with Jeffrey Epstein and visiting Epstein Island. And what we learned from this email exchange is that it was Elon who sort of initiated and was trying to go to Epstein Island. And Epstein was like accommodating Elon. But Elon was the one who asked. And meanwhile, Elon himself had come out previously, when there were previous leaks, and said, no, I never went, and it was Epstein that asked me to go. I didn't ask him to go. We now know that that is factually wrong. We also have Bill Gates apparently got STDs from Russian girls, and there was this very bizarre, almost like a breakup letter between Jeffrey Epstein and Bill Gates when Bill Gates was trying to distance himself from Jeffrey Epstein. We have allegations of sex trafficking and auctioning of underage kids at Mar-a-Lago. And you have Melania's close relationship with Ghislaine Maxwell was exposed here. We didn't know how close they were. Apparently they were very, very close. It looks like, Ghislaine was the head madam, and you had Melania like checking in with her. And then you also have Trump's pick for the Fed chair was also in the Epstein files. His new pick for the Fed chair. So horrible stuff. You also have yet another example of a 13-year-old who Trump made go down on him, and when she accidentally bit him, Trump ended up hitting her as a result of that. So, and that story lines up with the Katie Johnson story. It's possible it's the same one being reported to the FBI. It's possible that he just has a track record of getting underage girls to do that, coercing them into doing that, and then if they don't do it right, he ends up physically assaulting them. So really, really disturbing stuff here. There was some stuff that appears to be not true. There's one allegation against Robin Leach that he like choked a woman to death. That one appears to not be true because none of the details in the allegation add up. Like, for example, it says that Trump had an orgy with underage girls at his golf club in California in 1995 or 1996, and Trump did not buy that property until 2002. So the allegation that involves Robin Leach, and in that same allegation, you also had like Trump Jr. and Ivanka involved in it. That particular allegation in the FBI intake form is not accurate. But having said that, in all these FBI intake forms, with all these disturbing allegations, you do realize that if even just one of these allegations in the FBI intake forms is correct, that Trump is a world historic, infamous pedophile and abuser. And my guess is, if I'm being honest with you, my assumption is that at least about half of those FBI intake forms have some truth in them. So just absolutely incredible stuff coming out. People are still combing through the files now and posting different parts of it. And obviously, I'll give you guys more updates when I have more updates. But yet again, completely devastating. And the final point I want to make is, I think Trump is going to do something drastic. We've all seen those posts where during Barack Obama's presidency, he said, watch, Barack Obama is going to attack Iran to distract from this thing or to make his poll numbers go up because his poll numbers are low. Well, he's accused Obama of that because that's how he thinks. He thinks in those terms. So I truly believe that he's going to attack Iran very soon. I would say within a week, I think Donald Trump is going to attack Iran. He already has the ships in the region, and he already attacked them once before, and I think he's going to do it again. I think if he were to attack Iran, in his mind, he's both distracting from the Epstein files and distracting from his Gestapo murderers killing Americans in the streets in Minnesota. And he knows that's hurting him, and in his stupid mind, he thinks that more bombings of Iran would actually help him in the polls and help him with the American people. That is absolutely positively untrue, and he's going to learn that the hard way. But this shit is absolutely out of control, man. This regime is completely and utterly out of control. I know I've said it a million times, but I'll say it a million more. He's got to fucking be impeached. He's got to be impeached, removed, convicted, locked up forever. And if you can't impeach him, somehow we got to find a way to twist the arms of his cabinet to do the 25th Amendment and lock his ass up, because he clearly is not mentally fit to do this. I think he has Alzheimer's. I think he's totally lost it. And on a daily basis, we see the consequences of that. And I'm tired of everybody pretending like this is normal.
Okay, yeah, as you could see, it's not a thing. He's just sitting there reading notes while he's driving, and I mean, this if he was in Maine, he'd get pulled over for that. Yeah, the things he's laid out, all these crimes. I mean, you're looking at treason, sex trafficking, all that stuff. This goes way beyond just impeaching a president. Okay, it really does. Think about that. I mean, we think about, when a president does something wrong, to impeach him, it usually is he overexerted his authority, or he cheated somewhere, an election or whatever, things like that, to impeach a president. But you see, this guy, Trump, had already had a baggage of shit on him when he went into the White House. He should have been impeached the very second he set foot in there. Okay, that's why, I keep saying that he really is an illegitimate president. He's really not a president. I mean, people call him, 47? I won't even say that. I would say he's number one as the first dictator in the United States. He's not a president. He's a dictator, okay? He's trying to be a wannabe dictator. I don't think mentally he could do it. I mean, Hitler had all he could do to handle it. But the fact is that I don't look at him on the list of presidents we've had in school and have his face at the end. Okay? I'd say we have to start a new row here of other leaders we've had. Okay? And he would be face number one. Okay? So, yeah, he's not acting like a president. He certainly doesn't seem to care about this country like a president should. And he certainly doesn't care about the people living in this country as a president should. Now, I realize almost every president has done things or whatever that, stain the country or in some way or another. Okay? No one's perfect, all right? Some of them are less perfect than we want them to be. Well, I think we always knew when these guys would run for the office, we knew what we wanted up here. We knew the kind of person we wanted. Somebody strong, somebody who could do the job, somebody we thought we could trust, who seemed to be able to handle himself, quick thinking, what I'm saying, can handle international issues. Okay, we all had a sort of a you know, a criteria we laid out. I mean, like any employer, excuse me, like any employer would when it comes to hiring somebody for a job. We were the employers, right? I mean, you got to think of it that way because we are the government. But we were trying to hire somebody to be a president, and we always knew where the bar had to be with each person. But with Trump, some of us were using the bar, other of us didn't want to. And the reason that being is because people who didn't care about Trump's past were being selfish because of one or two things that Trump said he was going to do, all right, and they voted for him on that. Now, that says a lot about the people that supported Trump, that, you know, these are these single-issue voters that I talked about, you know, months and months ago, okay, that they're kind of the worst kind of voters because they don't take the list of things, okay, and figure, you know, how many is it going to work for me and how many won't, and the dominant side wins, okay? No, they just say, did he say this or did he say that? And if he said one of these things, okay, I'm going that way. Okay, they don't look at the other things. They don't care about the other things. They only care about, look, oh, he's anti-abortion, so I'm voting for him. Or, oh, he's against illegal, so I'm voting for him. Okay, that's what I call selfish voting. That's not the way you're supposed to vote. You're supposed to take into account all the things, and you count, is he more, does he have more things that I care about or less? That'll decide if I vote for him or not, okay? The rest of the stuff that I don't agree with, if he try, we can debate that with him. We could debate whatever. You see what I'm saying? That's how you're supposed to work. You can't always agree 100% with anybody running for the office. But you have to look at, you know, what do we get more benefits with this person or less? And what benefits do you think you should have? Okay? And then you go with the side that's more to your liking. Okay? But a lot of people never took that fucking test, and they never asked themselves a goddamn thing. And they went ahead and pulled the lever for Trump because, hey, he said he was going to do this immigration problem. He was going to fix it. And, you know, that's fine with me. Okay. But, you know, they never think about, you know, how many of these people, you know, come into this country and do jobs you don't want to do. All right. You get rid of them, you're going to cripple a lot of companies, okay, and farmers. Are you going to be one of those people that'll happily stand up and say, I'll do the job? No, you're not. You're not going to do the job, okay? You bitched and complained about, oh, this guy got this job and I didn't get it and he's illegal. Well, okay, so we took the guy out of that job. Now you can go over there now and do that job if you want to. Okay, so I think a lot of people have come to that realization in the worst way possible. They learn the hard way. Like I said, a lot of people, the human nature is we don't learn by, you know, learning from history. We learn by doing and failing, okay? And that, you know, that's the way things go. That's why we constantly repeat mistakes all the time. We just don't let it sink in that it's not going to work. Okay, some of us are paying attention. Some of us are learning. Okay, I'm not going to say everybody. Some of us are learning. Okay, usually the young people are the ones that repeat the same mistake. Okay, but in this situation, okay, we had a lot of people who voted who didn't care about these other issues, and they only wanted that one thing. Okay, and now these people, some of them, have finally admitted that it's gone bad. It's gone south. Okay, it just really is not working. Okay, and now they want a do-over, but you know you can't. You have to do things the way where it's set up to do. So, I mean, it's good that they've come to the realization. Unfortunately, we still have to work together in order to undo the damage, and that's going to take, you know, a lot of effort and time to do that. But you got to stay committed to it. You can't allow yourself to be swayed by any more of Trump's lies. You got to just shut him out. I mean, if you really believe that he screwed you over, okay, and he took away from you some stability in your life, then you've got to say, I can't listen to him anymore. He's a liar. He's a stealer. He's a corrupt idiot. He's an asshole. He's a pedophile. Okay, why should I listen to this guy anymore? You shouldn't. Nobody was ever asking you to listen to him. We were trying to tell you not to listen to him in 2024 because all he was doing was yep, and lies, all out of the, and trying to convince people that he was the next best thing in the world since God, okay? And a lot of people fucking fell for that. Anyway, I just, like I said, this is where we are here with that, and really the Epstein files is our angle here in order to discredit him in so many ways. It really is. The last thing he wants is for the total truth of what he was involved in to get out. All right? But what we've seen already is pretty damning. Pretty damning, okay? I mean, the emails and stuff like that, the things that he's saying from one person to another and, talking about this and that. And, I just, I think that it's really, really sad that a lot of people hear these things coming out, and it still doesn't rile up enough momentum, I guess, for people to say push for the impeachment. Take these things that's coming out and take them to court, whatever. Bring it up there. We got evidence. I mean, we got evidence coming out our asses here. There should be no reason at all that this guy would skate on an impeachment. Okay, there really isn't. I mean, we got victims, we got files, we got fucking video evidence, witnesses, we got victims. I mean, Jesus Christ. I mean, if you wanted to send O.J. Simpson to prison for the rest of his life, all this evidence would have been a gift to see that happened. Okay? There's no reason why we can't do that here. Okay? There really isn't. The momentum is out there to push this through, to get it going. The Democrats, on the other hand, either they're not listening, or they don't want to listen, or they're just being paid to shut up and just do what I want. I mean, even AOC, usually she's out there screaming about something. Haven't heard much from her lately. I don't know what the hell's going on with her. Okay, Bernie Sanders, well, he does what he can. Okay, sometimes he's on topic, sometimes he's not. Okay. But, I mean, his message has always been consistent before this shit happened, that this could happen. And now it's happened, so he's sort of like, well, he's telling us something that we didn't listen to before, but now it's kind of too late to hear the message because here we are. So the Democrats, like Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries, they're not really guiding us in the right direction here. We're getting, we made a little deal here with this or that. And I'm thinking, deal with who? You made a deal with the devil and you expect the devil to honor that deal? Really? How naive can you possibly be? Okay? You can't make deals with devils. You can't. Trump throws everybody that he ever did business with under the bus all the fucking time. Everything he's touched has turned to shit. He's gone bankrupt more fucking times than I can count. Okay? He doesn't know how to do anything right. Okay? Even his father, called him a failure. Okay, his father knew what he was before he struck out to go try to be a businessman. He knew this. And the family, well, they didn't like him much because they knew what he was. He was corrupt and egotistical and all this shit. So he never, his family wasn't that close with him at all, okay? He had a decent enough brother, but Christ, he fucking ruined that guy. But, yeah, I mean, this is a pariah, and I would not encourage Democrats to make deals with somebody that's controlling a whole party that's like that, So, really, we need to just overlook the bipartisan stuff to answer, the Grinch again. We have to overlook that, and we need to just go straight to pushing for impeachment, okay? There's no dealing with with Trump himself, okay? We'd have a better chance trying to make deals with J.D. Vance, I think, as dumb as he is, okay? I think we'd have a better chance of manipulating him to do the right thing, but who knows? But we certainly can't with Trump, because I don't know whether he's all there or whether he's falling apart mentally, you know, to the point where he can't think for himself, and maybe other people are thinking for him or telling him what to say. You know, I don't know. A lot of times you look at him and he looks like he's, you know, he looks like he's, you know, half asleep. He doesn't seem alert, okay? And when people question him, he doesn't really give you an answer that's really understandable. I mean, the right wing, the MAGA people were accusing Joe Biden of being that way, okay? But I think Biden now is probably more coherent than Trump is right now, all right? But Trump, I don't know, he's a very disturbed and, you know, aging man there that really shouldn't be doing this job. He aged himself out health-wise a long time ago, okay? Some people can be doing this job at 80 years old, you know, but very few can. And, you know, like Reagan was falling apart in his second term, or even before. Trump's falling apart right now, okay? He's doing a second term he should not have gotten because he's not healthy mentally. I don't know why MAGA thought they could, unless they had nobody. I mean, I can't imagine that they thought they didn't have anybody. I mean, Mitt Romney would have been a better choice for the Republicans than Donald Trump, okay? Yeah, he's still a businessman and stuff like that, but he was firing on all thrusters, okay? He was still pretty well aware, and he knew Trump was an asshole, okay? So Mitt Romney would have at least been a better person to be sitting in the White House right now than Donald Trump. And all I can say is the Republicans didn't come out in force behind Romney and thought that Trump would be better. And to me, to this day, I will never be able to explain that to anybody who asks me. Like, you know, if I some kid when I'm an old man, well, how come Trump won when he was such a bad president? You know, that's going to be an epic tale to tell. You know, it's something that you can't fit in just a 2-hour movie. Okay? You know, if you want to do a movie about this period in American history, it's going to be a very, very long movie like Dune. It's going to be like 2, 3, 4 parts. Okay? That's what you're going to be looking at. Okay? Because this guy his corruption goes way back. And it's probably going to be X-rated too because of the shit that's going to have to come up in that movie. You know? Seriously. All right, that's it for today. So I hope everybody has a great rest of the work week. So subscribe, comment, and share. Keep your ears open for health issues out there. A lot of people have been getting sick from the cold or flu or whatever like that. And a lot of people who caught COVID, their immune system is kind of weakened now. So you're going to be catching every damn bug that goes around. So, you know, keep taking your vitamins. That's really the best thing I can say. And, you know, I don't know if you believe in shots, but, you know, get those too if you can. But, you know, protect yourself. You know, pretend like it's the pandemic. You know, wear the mask and all that stuff. It does help. I mean, it may not be perfect, but it's a help. You know, and help each other out there. You know, be your neighbor's best friend. You know, try to be there if something goes wrong, because it can happen. You know, practically without warning, it can happen. So just, you know, we have to come together as a people in order to become the country that we always wanted to be. You know, we can put our differences aside. At least we can try to come together on something that we agree with. I'd like to see that. So take care, everybody. I'll talk to you later. Bye.